An undertitle of this last session of the lectorat is The Child Within Us. Mm-hmm. And we are playing here with Michael like kids. And this is wonderful because we are actually sharing the same experience with the dancers. In that case, of course, we are teachers to a certain extent, or the discoverers of this sort of thing. But we play in an equal measure like the dancers do. Mm-hmm. And it's really very enriching and very exciting. Mm-hmm. And as I said before, at the beginning of the lectorat, keep the child within you alive. Otherwise you will not be able to create anymore. Mm-hmm. If you don't keep that curiosity, that kind of openness to learn and to experiment and even to be declared stupid. Fine with me, not a problem at all. If you don't risk that, you will never be able to create, I think. 8 legs, or 8 arms and 1 head. Yeah, so it's really stupid, kind of very bizarre, comical idiocy. Yeah? Yes, exactly. Yeah.
They need to be back here, okay? Just so you know that. You need to be the ones who will
having a great time, finding the way to keep the wonder alive, how to keep that part of it alive is it's actually quite easy, but it's somehow forgotten.
Yeah.
In our profession, in our work, toward the level of high discipline, we tend to forget that we usually, most often, have entered into the performing arts because of a childlike wonderment at it and a play that's involved in it. And the passion comes out of that, not out of just being a hard study.
What is it for me is that child is actually full of secrets, but unique and pure. They don't have malignity or bad energy behind, but they're genius secret. So they see something interesting and they just do it. So why not doing it with dance and with art? You just gotta try, and then if you don't like it, you can always change it. And I mean, if you don't be a child until the end of your days, that's quite boring.
I can see the child in him as well.
Absolutely.
When he's creating on us. And I can see that when we're doing the duets or still practicing it, Kylian comes out of the dark and he says, very, very curious, very, oh, dancers, let's move it a little bit to the left, or just shake your leg, just shake your leg. And it just changes immediately. Yeah, he just wants to see and try it out, and he's not frustrated that it doesn't work. He just says, we let go, and we try something else.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's really
inspiring.
It's very inspiring.
Yeah, very much.
Very often the problem is that students are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to appear stupid. And we, teachers, choreographers, also, we don't like to be asked difficult questions because we might not know the answers. But this is part of the game. We should never be afraid of questions, and the students should never stop asking questions, even if they risk the fact that they are going to be called stupid by the teacher. Yes. Which I think every teacher that sort of classifies as a question as stupid is absolutely stupid himself, because there is no such thing as a stupid question.
Exactly.
It's something that you want to find out, and you as a teacher are responsible to give either adequate answer or just say simply, I'm very sorry, but I really don't know.
Yeah,
and
I do that many times. Yeah,
I would kiss the feet of a teacher who would ever tell me, "I'm sorry, I don't know," which actually
you should have studied with me. You would have been kissing my feet all the time.
Your feet would be kissed to death.
They would be pure.
So this is what we try to also make clear to the students, that we are actually in the same boat. It's like choreographers and dancers. You create together. The times where the ballet master would say, "This is the step, young man, and you better do it at your best ability, otherwise there is the door." Well, these days are kind of a little over.
Yeah. But also this, I think, throughout the entire lectorat, there has been also an enriching of the empowerment of a dancer, and the understanding that now to be a dancer, it means to be much more of a complete artist. I think, as we knew when we were also growing up and training, we were also encountering that with artists and with choreographers. Some were very keen on enhancing that. And I think now it's become even more so, that it's not enough just to be someone who can execute movement well.
Yeah, the education, the dance education is now much more comprehensive. It's much more complex and much more. There is much more information that goes along with just plain dance, and this is also what we try to make clear to the dancers, because there are so many disciplines that are surrounding them that they have to have certain kind of knowledge if they want to be not only good dancers but maybe later choreographers, maybe teachers, maybe dance theoreticians, maybe critics, maybe whatever. So they should be well funded, they should be well educated, or at least we should open the doors for them to realize that there is something beyond this small world of dance, because there is plenty that they should know.
Yeah, that's very, very important.
But what I like about design and architecture in stage is that your brain is really active. It's because you don't have to deal just with the shape that you can create with your body. It's how this combines the others. Vertical, direction, diagonals. It's really you create inside your mind. But we should be trained more on this, I guess.
We have those black and white panels, and there is a choreography that we made together for a couple, and then we perform them in different constellation of the panels. So, and you will see that the effect of the surroundings is total on the choreography. It just tells a completely different story, and also redirecting the choreography to the north, to the south, to the east, and to the west. So this is...
and also changing the light on each of the different
exactly.
moments. Each different scene is also lit differently. My Ellen Knops is with us, and she's a master at creating a change of atmosphere in a very subtle and very, very swift manner. So it's also part of the mix in this last presentation.
Misschien een van de anderen even.
Ja.
Het schuifje wat nu open is, het schuifje wat er rechts naast zit.
What I don't like is if the light dictates where you have to look. Because I think the audience can decide for themselves what they think is interesting. What I can do is I can highlight something that otherwise would not have been noticed. So I just give options. Also to the audience, because I don't like something's happening here, so we have a little spot there, and now it's there, and then everybody has to look there. I don't. That's not what I like. We're trying things out. There are going to be some moments that the panels are be crossing kind of random, and Jiri wants it to be dark, then that nobody knows exactly what happens. The first panels will be black, and in the back sometimes that, one is white and turns back. So you have to kind of zoom in then to see what's happening. And I mean that I kind of like darkness in light, because then you're forced to really watch. If something is in bright light, you can just let it come in. If it's dim, you have to kind of, what do I see? You have to focus more.
Like this, and walk around.
What is curious for me is also that I never experienced to be the design of the stage. It affects the image first, also because 3 couples doing it, they do it in 3 different directions. So first the frontal, diagonal, backwards.
The background is different, so
It
the
changes
perspective
every
that you have of the space is always also changed. That, for example, we have a diagonal across the stage, and that cuts the stage in half. So the space they have to dance in is
Limited.
smaller.
Yeah.
And what does that make? What happens with the duet after?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting for us, but I think the total image is taken by the audience. We cannot really see the result from the front.
Really this intention. Not just, the choreographer told me to do this. No,
it has been magical to see Jiri and Michael work together with the dancers. As I said, I worked more often with Michael. I know he's quick in his mind. And then combined with Jiri, who is even quicker. Exchanging ideas, it goes really flop, 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 flop. Oh, beautiful. You know, it's just unbelievable. And then the poor dancers, they worked so hard, and they really tried. But sometimes it's hard to keep up with these two minds that are just flying back and forward. And I think they did really well. I think they enjoyed it a lot. But it's a wonderful process to watch that.
Everything is very simple when he just gives very simple tasks, but when it's all put together, it becomes very complicated.
It's a movement language
Yeah.
that is so delicate and precise, and
The dynamic is also very
he's very
specific.
picky in the speed.
Yeah.
He wants the really fast thing, and he says it's not about tension; it's about relaxing and be fast.
It's the energy.
Yeah. And yeah, you go to school and you kind of try to learn that, but this is the work floor, you know, and also the mindset that you have here, unfortunately, is different than what you have at school. It's very strange how the mind works, actually.
It's a matter of finding a common ground, of seeing where we can meet, and agreeing that we are going to go on this adventure, on this trip of discovery. And it's a whole lot of willingness and a whole lot of give and take to be able to create such atmosphere. And I must say, it takes a long time to become young, right, Michael?
I'm still working on it every day.
No, you see, because you need a certain kind of usefulness to be able to allow that happen, but you have to be old enough to allow that to happen.
Right.
You see, because I remember when I was young, I was much more despotic in the way I was choreographing because I was scared to death.
You were self-critical.
I
right?
was so self-critical. I was
Yeah.
so scared to death that I would not come up with the goodies. And I was terrified that a dancer would ask me a question and I would not know the answer. So my way of working when I was really young was, this is the way, take it or leave it, which is the worst kind of working
Process, yeah.
kind of working process. So, as I say, by aging, you actually become younger because your approach is fresher when you're older. So, as Picasso said, it takes a hell of a long time to become young. And he knew exactly what he was talking about. And unfortunately, it takes age to reach that point. I wish I would know what I know that when I took over Netherlands Dance Theatre. But I was 28. This is the discrepancy also of the fact that we know a lot more and we can share a lot more things, and we are not afraid to teach because we actually have experienced a lot of things. But our energy or our physical strength is less than it used to be.
Yeah, yeah. Give him a nice embrace. Love you, buddy. Yeah.
I feel, because I'm still very young, that I'm very explosive and very all over the place, and he's so contained, and just his characters. That's how beautiful it is. I think that's what I want to take with me. Besides all the knowledge of how movement works, and that, for example, he says that we have two very fast movements, so we cannot have another fast movement. We have to have a very slow. Almost suspended movement, and then and we go again. I think that's the intelligence working in choreography, and I think that's what I want to take.
Awareness also.
Yeah, what I want to take with me.
Well, awareness of what you want to see as a choreographer, what you want the dancers to feel while they're doing, and what you want the audience to see. Oh, it's a lot to think about.
There's
but
a lot to
he's
think about.
aware. He's like a bubble covering everybody,
Yeah. Creation is a whole
Yeah, it's
world.
like you feel him everywhere. When he enters the room, it's like such an energy, but he's so human.
It got a little bit out of hand, and he said, dancers. When I was young, I didn't like to do homework. So what I did was pay absolute attention in rehearsals, so I didn't have to do any homework later. And this is fantastic because it's such a kind information to give, and it's not just quiet or it's not that rough energy. It's just as we dancers are very used to get. That is this. And,
Shut up. He likes to share experience.
Yes, yes.
And that's how you teach.
That's how he
actually.
teaches, yeah.
Also, the thing is, age is that when you're young as a choreographer, you have so much energy and so much force in you, and you rush things so much. You want to say things so fast, but the beauty is in the detail. But you, as a young person, you have a lot of time ahead of you, but you're rushing like crazy. As an older creator, you don't have much time, but you take care of detail.
Economic,
You take care of time. You're so much more aware of the precious moment of the creation, and take the time and look at the detail from all different sides until you find the best solution for the problem that you are trying to. So there is always this discrepancy. When you don't have the time, you tend to take time because you know it's important. And unfortunately, we don't have much time because we are creating here within 4 days. Every time, 4 days creation. So this is another kind of pressure that is on us and on the dancers. But it has another kind of beauty of spontaneity
and community.
Absolutely.
They're coming to it. They know that they have 2 more days, and that they're also. I saw that happen yesterday. It was amazing how when we introduced the panels, we could see that it was for them challenging, but they were making the best effort they could possibly make to make it happen and to see it from the outside. And I think that's also a really important part of this experience with them, is for them to be participating and observing at the same time. And that's a very good experience for them, that they get to be part of that, to understand they have to make a certain shape with these panels, and they have to do it. And they have to do it by seeing the entire group from a distance. That's not a typical activity for them at this point in their career. I think it's been really good for them, I think, to do this, and for us too. It's fun to watch it.
Absolutely. First of all, being surrounded by really young people with their energy, with their curiosity, with their fantasy, that already is very rejuvenating. It gives you a lot of energy. You suck in a lot of energy from them. So that is of course wonderful, but also seeing them grow, seeing them open up like flowers. The difference from the moment we saw them for the first time on Monday until today is just enormous, and it's such a pleasure. It's just wonderful, absolutely. And whatever it's worth it, the dancers are very bright. They know what's good for them. They know what they can neglect, but they are very clever in choosing the goodies for themselves. And it's exciting to see. Mm-hmm. They know that we are not don't strive to make a masterwork in 4 days. But they know that we are on a boat and we are paddling somewhere and we want to go to a Caribbean island somewhere.
Aruba,
and with a treasure grove somewhere. With some hula dancers.
With some dancers, exactly, and music.
Try to finish faster at the end.